Hello, and welcome to another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. You know, I had a completely different video planned and scheduled for today, but given the extreme heat that we've been experiencing in the country, especially in the Southwest, and how many of my viewers live in vehicles without air conditioning, and actually even viewers who are in homes, this excessive heat warning and this excessive heat that we're experiencing could pose a grave danger. So in this video, I'm going to share some tips that I have used that have been very helpful in, I think, keeping me safer in the heat. I'm also going to be sharing some clips from an interview with a physician on the Mayo Clinic YouTube channel. In that interview, the physician shares some signs that you may be about to experience or that you are experiencing heat exhaustion. He also gives some suggestions on ways to combat the heat. And I think it's very valuable information that will not only perhaps add to your comfort, but possibly could save your life. I'm not a physician. I'm not a nurse. I'm not involved in the healthcare profession in any way, but I have had some experience. I guess you could call it a tin can because my van is dark gray, and when it is hot outside, it is almost boiling inside there, especially without an air conditioning unit for the back part of the van. So I think that these tips, while they're not necessarily medical tips, I think they could be helpful. So come on and let's talk about ways to possibly stay safer in this heat. And if you like this content, would you hit that like button? It really does help my channel and allows me to continue making great videos like this one. The first tip that I'm going to share with you on how I stay cool or work at staying cool in excessive heat is the use of this handheld mister. If you look at this, on the bottom, there is an opening, and the opening is pretty wide. At that opening, I put in ice and water. I then use this all the time that I'm going to be in the heat, spraying myself. There's a hand-controlled sprayer, and you can mist yourself with that ice water. At the same time that you're misting yourself, there's a fan. I don't know if you can see the little fan blades. So the fan is going, and you're able to spray yourself with the cold water. And I find that is very effective in helping me to cool down. For those of you who are interested, it's called the O2 Cool Deluxe Misting Fan. And I believe it was $9.99, and I got this at Walmart. But in this clip coming up, the doctor from Mayo Clinic will explain a little bit more about why this can be effective.
It's often good to use some spray, get some breeze perhaps from a fan. So misting is a very good treatment. So if we mist our skin, that's the same as sweating. We put mist on there, we use a fan, we get in a cool area, and we start to feel better. If we do that, we're not feeling better, we're getting a headache, we're starting to become confused, and that becomes a medical emergency. It's really urgent to get in and get some help.
The next tip I'm going to share involves two items that I use in conjunction with each other. The first is an ice bag, and I got this, here is the box. I got this at Walgreens, and I put ice in this, and I put this on my neck when I sleep at night. I also then have a hot water bottle. I got this also at Walgreens, and I put ice in it also and fill it up with a little bit of water, but mostly ice. And I put this at my feet. So with this at my neck and this at my feet, I find out that when I sleep, that helps to keep me a lot cooler. And these are things you can use whether you're living in a vehicle or van, or RV, or a house or apartment. Now, I have seen that when emergency personnel respond to a heat call, someone who is having heat exhaustion, I have heard that they put ice at the person's neck, under their arms, and in their groin area. to try and bring their body temperature down. I don't know if those are key points or key spots. And if anyone knows anything more about that, put it in the comments and share it with us. But those are just additional areas where I've heard that you can try and cool your body temperature down rapidly. But these are things that can easily be obtained, and I found are very helpful in keeping me cool, especially at night when I sleep. The third thing I'm going to share with you that I found very effective, it's a little fan. And as you can see, it goes around your neck. And it has 3 different settings: low, and you have it here, and it's blowing up under you and over. You can have it on medium and on high. And believe it or not, this little fan, I'm going to show you a little bit better. This little fan really can keep you cool, and it also, the feature that I like the best about it is that it's hands-free. It's around your neck. You don't have to be holding it or pushing it, but especially on high, it really puts out a lot of air. The other feature I like about it is that it's USB charge, so you don't have to keep replacing the batteries. This is the box that it comes in. It's a O2, again, it's called the USB rechargeable necklace fan. I also got this at Walmart, and I think it was about $12. Another thing that I do to try and keep cool in the excessive heat is I use this collapsible bucket. What I do is I will put some ice in it and water, and you don't have to have a lot. A small amount will do the trick. After I put the ice and water in it, I put my feet in it. And it's amazing the cooling effect that it has by just keeping my feet in this bucket of ice and water. Can you imagine how you can double that if you have spraying? You're spraying yourself with ice water, you got your little hand fan mister going, and your feet in a bucket of ice and water. It really does help, I have found. And you know what? You don't have to use a collapsible bucket like this. Whatever you have on hand, if you have a large bowl, if you have another bucket, if you have even a big pan, as long as your feet will fit into it. Heck, you could even use a plastic garbage bag that'll hold liquid. Put some water in that sucker, put some ice in it, and put your feet in it. Whatever will do the trick, but I found that it is effective in cooling me down. Another tip that I'd like to share with you is a cooling towel. Before that, I just want to let you know, it's kind of hot in here actually in this tin can. So I put my fan on, and I hope that's not disruptive to this video or to your listening enjoyment. But anyhow, this is not my cooling towel. I have lost my cooling towel, but I'm using this for demonstration purposes. Basically a cooling towel, and I'll show one at the end of this clip. A cooling towel is a towel that is made to soak in water. You then put it around your neck, and it's called actually a cooling tie. Cooling tie, cooling towel, there's many different names for it. But you put it around your neck, and it keeps you cooler for actually quite a bit of time, depending on the towel. Now, you can get them on Amazon. You can go all the way up to $100, but that's ridiculous. There are plenty of good ones on there for $6 and $9. There are even some that have little particles or little granules or something inside that I think absorb the cold water. But again, just dip this in cold water and tie it around your neck. That's the name, cool tie. Now, I read an article. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I read something on the internet that said that one of the reasons cool ties are very effective is that it cools down the blood in the carotid artery. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you what I read. But it cools down the blood in the carotid artery, which then sends cooler blood throughout your body. And that's one of the reasons that it's effective in cooling you down. So do your own research. check it out for yourself, but that's just something I read. But at any rate, the bottom line is that I have found this technique of using a cooling tie effective for helping to keep me cooler. This is one I haven't used, but found on Amazon. I'm going to show you what I do in my van, or one of the things I do in my van. Aside from fans, I have a clip-on fan that's from, I think it's called Ambus. I love this. It has 3 different speeds, and you can use it, or charge it rather, using a USB charger. I also, and you can put it wherever you want it because it's clip-on. I also use this window cover for the front of my van because, again, the front windshield is one of the ways that sun comes in and really heats up your van. The front of it is kind of a Reflectix type material, and the back of it is more of a cloth material. And I got this, I ordered this from Eurocamper. They have all kinds of products for different vans. And this comes in a kit with the windshield cover and also covers for the 2 side windows, and it makes a huge difference. Once I do that, I also put up a divider and a separator, a really thick insulated curtain that goes between my cab and the living space of the van, the cargo area. And I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference. You can come into the van and you can feel a difference of, I would say, even with this up, it still makes a huge difference of probably about 10 degrees. One of the main things I do, and this, I don't even know if I should call this a tip, but one of the main things I do is I drink plenty of water and I stay hydrated. Plenty of cold water. And, oh my goodness, it just instantly makes me feel better. I was reading somewhere that in excessive heat, or even heat that's not considered excessive, but just on a hot day, women should drink a minimum of 6 of these 16-ounce containers of water, a minimum, and men should drink a minimum of a gallon. I'm going to share a clip in which the physician from the Mayo Clinic talks about why it's important to be hydrated from the beginning of the day, not just when you start to feel overheated. And he also shares one of the ways that you might be able to tell if you're not consuming enough water.
Start your day dehydrated. You want to be well hydrated going into it, and then keep hydrating as the day goes on. One of the best ways to really, am I hydrated well enough or not well enough, is really how much you're urinating, because your body is telling you that if you're going to the bathroom every few hours and your urine is clear, you probably have enough hydration. If you haven't gone all day, then that's a hint that maybe you're not hydrated well enough.
The last tip I'm going to share before putting up one more clip from the Mayo Clinic doctor is a tip you've probably heard over and over. Go to higher ground, get somewhere else, move, get out of the heat. And you know what? It's a great tip, but it doesn't work for everyone. And I'm going to tell you why. A lot of people, even who are living in vans or vehicles, have a stationary job that they have to be present at and report to every day. So it's not practical for someone who has to go into work every day to just say, hey, I'm not going to be here for a week. I'm going up to the mountains where it's cooler. So those individuals can't do that. Other people that may not be able to go to a cooler altitude are people who have medical conditions such as excessive or extreme rather asthma or COPD or other conditions that may make it more difficult for them to breathe in higher altitudes. And some people get extremely ill in higher altitudes. So those individuals can't just up and move. Also, I have met people at Quartzsite and at other gatherings who I've asked, oh, so where are you headed next? Are you leaving today, when the gathering was ending? And the response I have often heard is, oh no, I can't leave until the first of the month. I have to wait until I get my Social Security check. So those are individuals who are on such a tight budget that they can't just travel and travel and travel. They have to control their budget so closely that they can't drive the extra miles. They can't spend the extra money on gas to get from point A to point B. So those are just a few of the groups of people who cannot just get up and go to a higher elevation. But there is a solution still if you can't do that. Due to the excessive heat that we've been experiencing in this country, across the country, many cities now have what are called cooling stations or cooling locations. They're places where individuals who don't have air conditioning or may be vulnerable to the heat or for whatever reason, you can go in there and you can sit and you can cool off and you can stay for hours if you want. Many of these spots will have cold water to offer you. Some of them even offer popsicles. In addition to that, many cities have community centers where you can go in there and often for a minimal fee, maybe $3 or so, you can use the swimming pool. But even if you don't want to use the pool, you can go into the community center, which is usually air conditioned, and you can just sit. Libraries are also another good place to go and sit and get out of the heat. And you can sit and read a magazine while you're in there. In addition to that, there are senior citizen centers in most communities where you can just go in there, often have an inexpensive meal, but you can go in there and cool off. But there are many, many spots. Oh, if you have a gym membership, say to Planet Fitness, you can go in there. They're usually air conditioned and some of them have pools that you can use, or you can even go in and take a cold shower. But there are options for you to go to places to cool off in the heat of the day especially. I am going to conclude this video with a clip from the doctor from the Mayo Clinic YouTube channel, providing just a few of the symptoms that may indicate that your body is telling you you're headed towards an emergency because of the heat. I hope that this video has been enjoyable, but more than anything, I hope that it has provided some information that will help to keep you safe. So may your journeys be filled with joy and blessings, but mostly be safe. And I will see you next time. Stay tuned and listen to the conclusion from the physician. And if you like this video, hit that like button, will you? All right. See you later, Glovies.
There's a range of what we call heat illnesses. It really starts out with heat cramps. You're out in the heat and now your legs are starting to cramp up. And then that moves on to heat exhaustion, meaning, again, the things I talked about. You're starting to feel tired, you're starting to feel fatigued, you're just maybe not, you're sweating but yet feeling cool, you're starting to feel a bit dizzy. Those are signs of heat exhaustion. We want to recognize those signs and get out of the heat, because heat stroke is when the body then loses the ability to truly regulate. Heat has to be taken seriously, because if you don't, it can snowball and then it becomes irreversible. And so the lesson is, number one, pay attention to your body, but then number two, have a plan